Did they ever get back about
All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another PGA show here on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. Do us a favor on the way in, smash that like, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A ton of content still coming out. I know NBA and NHL have wrapped up, but we've got MLB almost daily, and then we've got MMA week on, week off. This is a big week coming up, though, so going to be a lot of good content for you guys covered there. Our man GS Luke is doing the PGA shows as well on Wednesday evening, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the round 2, 3, and 4. I got Hoopster here with me, and it is the Rocket Classic. No mortgage. Can't lose the house on this one, Hoopster, but it's in your hometown in Michigan. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Need to get an updated hat here and eliminate the mortgage part. No longer the Rocket Mortgage, just the
That's
Rocket
why they did
Classic.
it. Merch.
Yeah. Got to rebuy if you go out there this year. You got to rebuy, which I will not be attending this year. It is always fun to go to PGA Tour events, but not going to be out there. Got a few other things going on this week / weekend, but the field's actually a little better, I think, than it's been in recent years. You have some names at the top, and I mean, we'll talk about them, but you got Morikawa as the most expensive guy, and hey, we kind of talked about it last week. I just don't know if he's that sort of guy anymore, at least right now. And you know, we'll talk to it. But you know what you're getting with this course. One thing I will say, it's going to be very, very hot. It's like 100 degrees. It's been the last 3 days, and it's supposed to remain in the 90s. So it's going to be very, very hot all week here. I know there is some rain the next few days. It looked like tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So we don't have full weather report, but that's one thing to keep an eye on, because it is supposed to rain and remain very, very hot. But this course is everything you hate about potential PGA Tour courses. Easy, birdie fest, no potential risk out there, not a ton of water, if any. Any water on this course is not really in play. The rough is non-existent. Very, very short rough. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's basically like playing out of the fairway. So you can just go ahead and absolutely bomb it. I think you can give an advantage for sure to the bombers. I mean, bomb and gouge is clearly in play this week without any risk, not many trees or anything like that to worry about. So very easy course, birdie fest. It's really all you need to know about this one. But we'll go through and kind of follow the format we've been rolling with. We'll go through, build some teams on Saber, talk through them, talk roster construction, game theory sort of stuff, and then, probably hit on the tiers on the way out.
Yeah, a couple good things there, actually. Specifically, you talk about the weather. I saw just before we hopped on, our guy Ron Kloss is always out there doing his thing. We got to meet him last year. We were at the Fantasy Golf World Championship finale. Round 3 was at this, and you and I made it there. So, being out there with him last year, just talking through it, seeing that course and going through it. They were talking today, because there's only a little bit of rain, right, Hoop? Like, it looks like a little bit tomorrow. I guess with how hot it is, it feels like it's going to bake out. It's 90 to 100 degrees pretty much daily. So they are trying their best, because they're doing some big renovation at this course, to bake it out. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to do much. Yeah. It still is the pros. It still is out here. So that was one thing that I wanted to bring up early. And then the second part was just you talking, making fun of the Morikawa piece for sure. I'm in with you on that. Moriflawa, as our late friend Degenerate 75 would say, this guy. But it's just a product of the odds. People always forget that. Like, he's priced at that. It doesn't mean you have to play him at all. There's actually been years at this tournament. By the way, just before we went live, Tony Finau, WD, but we'll go to that in a second, Hoop, and you can make fun of him too. But Tony Finau, I think it was one year, it was Finau and Bryson or something, was like the only two guys that were needed above 8,500 or something, because other guys didn't make the cut. Just the way it goes, there's so many ways that these guys can score and get through. So just because you see Morikawa, Keegan Bradley coming off the win, and Cantlay at the top doesn't mean much. Like, look at Morikawa. You said it last week. He hasn't been needed for 3 months. People bet him at 18-1 last week, and he busts out a nice, juicy 42nd place for them in a signature event. Like that's what he gives you. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you can play Morikawa this week. It's a field strength thing. These guys do bounce back. It's not talking out of both sides. It's explaining it. A lot of people feel the need to spend salary. My first tip just for a week like this certainly is that you can leave salary on the table. There, you can play any of those guys in the 9K range over the 10K guys and just leave the money if you like the other 5 guys that are in your lineup. So nobody really up top to get scared of. And I'm not sure if you saw Mayo's tweet yesterday was about what a wild without market. And I said, yeah, everyone who bets this market gets a free pack of condoms. Like, this is just insane, these without bet markets and what they're putting up. But I think it's more for the bit, maybe. Any other thoughts you got on any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's not many weeks where, you really want to actively try to leave big chunks of salary on the table in especially if you have the top end guys. We got the Schefflers in there and the Rorys and guys like that in the field. Like, you probably want to not fully fill it out, but, use your salary if needed. Like, you can actively leave salary on the table this week. I mean, these guys up top are nothing to be scared of, like you kind of mentioned. And like this course, the way it's set up and how easy it is, just brings a lot of different guys into play. And what we're saying, like bombers are probably have a little bit of advantage, or at least I am, but really anyone can do well here just because of how easy it is. It's just such an easy course. And I'm assuming there's probably not going to be much wind. Again, it's really hot. And I think, they talk like they want to bake it out. I just cannot imagine. I know the draining it, they're redoing it after this year, and the drainage has been terrible. Like the last few years out there, if there's any sort of rain, the course can't handle it. So there's no way to potentially bake this out, I don't think. So I'm anticipating a soft, very easy course, and it brings a lot of guys into play. So different sorts of roster construction are definitely. And the one thing to always know, like, even if you don't like the guys up top, if you don't like Morikawa, Bradley, Cantlay, like, they're going to be owned because people are just going to fill out their salary regardless. And if you go into an optimizer, it's just going to push those guys in there. I mean, the initial numbers are kind of backing it up. Like, all these guys up top are going to get owned, but just because it's so easy to get them in there, and they are going to be projected higher than the rest of the field. So you're probably actively going to have to go. And this is a week where I'm totally fine. If, like, you build out a team and you love it and you got the money for Morikawa, just don't use Morikawa and use someone in the 9K range. You could leave that sort of salary on the table this week, I think, and be fine with it. And, I think it has a chance to be live, where in previous weeks or other weeks, signature events or majors, if you say, all right, well, I built a team, I got enough for Scotty, I'm just going to go down and play someone cheaper. It doesn't make sense, I don't think, this week. I think you can do a lot of different things, and that's kind of just one example of doing teams differently.
Yeah, and I think that's why I brought it up. Go Collect brings it. He was first in the chat earlier today, so shout out to our guy. But says, will the balance bill be more? No, that's the whole point. That's why we're bringing this up. Is that no matter what, people will ignore everything we said about the other, and of course they're capable. Keegan literally just won a signature event. Patrick Cantlay hasn't been that bad versus Morikawa. Actually, has been pretty bad, but he's still calling Morikawa in this type of field. People say, oh, he'll get it back. He won't lose that much with the putter. They'll come up with all these things. I'm just saying it can happen again. So you don't have to do it. And there's tons of different ways you could do it. And a tool like Saber Sim, you can also set it up to do like 49 minimum. But instead of doing 49 minimum and leaving those 10K guys in, this is just a little tidbit or a strategy thing. You can go 49.9 to 49.5 and X out the 10K guys so that it won't just boost and bump everywhere else. You'll still get you'll get more of the lineups where it would be Colin Morikawa, but it leaves, or let's say it would have been Patrick Cantlay, but it leaves the money and just plays Harry Hall, or leaves the money and just plays Hideki Matsuyama. So you could play, if more people you think are going to go that route. Another thing will be, when we get to it later, there's most certainly ways with the way that the upper sixes and lower sevens specifically this week, the lower sevens have a ton of different guys people play. Not saying they'll all be popular, but people are comfortable playing them. Another interesting route would be to go 2 10Ks if more people are talking like Coop and I and just saying, like, you don't have to play those guys up top. Well, what about playing 2 of them, right? And skipping over those next ranges. So there's a few different interesting ways to go. I think I know what the optimizer is going to bring, but do you have Saber up there, Hoop? Oh, mute city over there. Oh, still muted. You can see the little mute right on your... Is Hoop muted? I see mute.
and it shows the X through his thingy. Waiting on the chat to jump in. I think he's bouncing back and forth. The Rocket Mute Classic, they said. See, I don't know. We'll have to see if it was just me. Yeah, Hoop is muted. I saw that. I heard, I mean, it was the case. And then I saw his little microphone missed out. While we're waiting on Hoop to come back, I want to give this away. So let us know in the chat. Actually, you know what we'll do? At the end of this episode, leave the winner and the score. The winner and the score. We'll do the giveaway at the end. So you won't be able to do it now. You can't leave comments on a live show. But when the show ends, or if you're watching this on playback, it's even easier. If you're watching it on replay, you just leave a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Leave a comment that says your winner and the score. And I'm going to give this away and ship it out. The chat said muted. Mute Hoop Nation muted. Now you're good.
Am I back?
It's a little choppy there, man. You sound
That's
like you
weird.
smoked a few cigarettes while you were gone or while you were muted, and now you're coming back. We got you?
Look at G Rising safety break. My throat's a little
A little hoarse,
messed
a
up
little
here.
froggish on the way back, but we got you. Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Hang on, let me see. Now I should be full.
Oh, goodness.
Good?
We need to get our man a new mic. We got to get him a little special.
Is it good?
Am
I on? No?
Yeah, you're back now. That's better. Try and stay like that.
Okay, fully back? Is it fully back?
It's back,
Does it
but it's like
sound a
cutting in
little-
and out now. It's something with your mic is cutting in and out.
Yeah, you keep talking. Let me figure this out for a second. Get
All
in
right,
there
yeah,
and
work
talk
on that.
about
We'll talk
something.
about-
You're usually good at talking a lot, so put that to use.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we just started the giveaway. People know that now. Worst safety meeting you've ever been a part of. He says, hey, I can do the quick marketing while you do this. Just a reminder, if you guys want to check it out, this run is pretty solid because if you're not a member yet, you're going to want to be a member. We've teased it a little bit, but there's something huge coming. And then if you want to look at it from this perspective, you get the Rocket Classic, John Deere, Scottish Open, the final major of the season with the Open, and the 3M. So you're going to get 5 big-time PGA events alone. There's a huge MMA event this week. You'll get a bunch more of the MMA content. You'll get the baseball daily. You'll get the NASCAR. We don't charge extra for any of that stuff. For $24 is for a full month, and it's all access, including Discord, the education courses. It gets you Saber Sim, which we're about to bring up. All that is included. So, Hoopster, let's try again.
All
It
right.
says, sorry, crude
One
disaster.
We're back in business.
We'll try it. Yeah, much better than it was.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, let me pull up Saber. So kind of went through, did the same thing that we've been doing, just did the dry run.
Good question while you're pulling that up. Just put the stroke score. So if you've got Colin Morikawa winning at 18 under, put Colin Morikawa minus 18 or whatever you want to frame it up as. That's the key. Good question, and thank you for clarifying.
All right, so ran 1,000 teams. I guess I could bring this salary down. If we do rerun it, I will bring this down just for the sake of seeing some teams that don't come close to filling it out. But got it sorted by projected score, like we typically do here to start.
Yeah.
At the top, you're gonna see. What you said?
Oh, you already brought up my. You did the special move for me.
Yeah, that is the one thing I've gotten right so far on this show. I mean, we've had some technical difficulties, but I did bring over exposure next to salary, so we're good there. I'm learning a little bit, that is for sure. But as you see, even if you don't like these guys up top, they're going to show up in teams. And this is projected score. Morikawa 27%, Cantlay 35%, Ben Griffin 31%. I would venture to say a majority of teams have one of those guys. This isn't loving Keegan Bradley all that much. It's simply because he's projected lower than the other guys. And this is based off Saber's projection. So got Morikawa with a projection of 89, Patrick Cantlay 85, Griffin 83, and Keegan a little below 83. So it's just preferring those other guys. When we switch around the settings, do Saber Score, that sort of thing, it might differ. It probably will differ because he is coming in lower owned than the other dudes. So I guess the one thing that definitely stands out for sure is those guys are just going to get into lineups. You look at our top projected lineups: Morikawa. This one has Ben Griffin, Cantlay, Morikawa, can't lay Morikawa. I'd say almost all our 150 teams are going to show up with one of those guys, because it's not like these are expensive dudes, like they're 12K guys. They're 10-9's the top price, and only 3 guys in the 10K range. Just going to force those guys in. So that's the first thing that stands out here with projected score. Wow, Saber said their projections must have a strong lean to Davis Thompson, because every week we do this, Davis Thompson is, what did he do last week? I don't even know what he did last week.
He's priced below the average price right now.
Yeah, they did like last week. They finished 25th. Yeah. So okay, that's probably why. But he does have a high projected number, so he's showing up. Goddard showing up at a high clip. Wyndham Clark. And then you start to get some of these 7K guys. So pretty much what I expected. I mean, you're going to get a lot of teams that just go ahead and actively force in the top end guys. You're seeing it in the ownership, 27, 35, 31%. And the majority of the teams, all our top teams for the most part, have someone up top.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. And it's what Go Collect brought up earlier. And that's why I said it's so important at an event like this to remember. It's just like it's automatic almost. And even the people that it's like there's almost, as our guy Title always says, there's levels to it. This is an exact tournament for that, because even if you can get past building some of the lineups the same way as everybody else, everybody runs to like the second version of what they think is sneaky, and it's not, in going to like the Ben Griffin stuff, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to pay the 10Ks, but I'm going to play Ben Griffin. It's like you literally just went to the next move that everybody was already making. And there is, much like in life and in business hoop, there is people that sometimes are 10 steps ahead and the other side doesn't even know what game they're playing. So, it is possible in this situation that people are going to get stuck there. So let's go to Saber Score now and just do a front run, because I don't think enough people know this, but even with that $24 deal in our core package, when people are just saying, hey, I've never used an optimizer, I want to get used to it, we can show you some of the stuff you'll see with Saber Score. And, we can look through it. Now, this is where people confuse it too, I think, Hoop, because some of the exposure will look identical. They're like, oh, it didn't even do anything. I still got 25% more cow. I still got 30% this guy. What do you mean? Like, it didn't even do anything. It's factoring in so much more than just your exposures. It's actually saying, hey, by the way, this is the whole point. It's saying we can get you some really cool and good lineups that are powerful with upside with the same guys you want to use in some cases, because it's not who you play, it's how you play them in a tool. It's showing you, hey, you can still play Morikawa at 24%, but let me show you what I'm going to do with those lineups. And Hoop, I know when you turn on the plus sign or you adjust it up, what size field are you in right now under Saber Score? Are you in the 50K?
I just put in the biggest, the 50,000 Saber Score, 50K plus.
Yeah.
Just the big stuff, and it'll vary a little bit, obviously, if you went smaller. But the one thing that definitely stands out just goes back to our initial point. No matter what you do, it's going to want to jam in these guys, and the big difference here is just more Keegan Bradley. So Keegan is looking like the lowest owned up top at 15%. On the projected score run, we only got 4%. When we change that to Saber Score, Keegan Bradley comes up to 17%. It's strictly a function of him being the lowest owned up here, and it looks like it took away from Ben Griffin. So they're projected similarly. Keegan's more expensive and going to be lower owned. So that was a big shift up here to, more Keegan opposed to Ben Griffin. And then you don't see as much Davis Thompson. Davis Thompson fell off a cliff.
8,100 sort by salary. Let's see.
So he like disappeared, and it's because it's showing 40% owned. Like, he's not going to be 40% owned, but it's because he's just by far as of now, the highest owned guy in that range. Like, we can adjust that down. Like, he's not going to be 40% owned. Let's just put it at 20, I guess. I don't know. It's probably more fair, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. I mean, get it off 38.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll rerun at some point here.
And zero out Tony Finau as well. Zero out his projection.
Yeah, we're just going to boom. He's gone. And what I personally like to do is my remove players, I don't want to see him in there. So once I remove a guy, I want him out. Easy right here to do that. Some people keep him in. I want their asses out. As soon as I know I'm not playing someone, just don't even show me their names anymore. Just have them disappear. Some people like to keep it in there. So now Finau will be out. And I'll rerun and see what we get. But Davis Thompson has a very high projection, and this is not going to be inaccurate. Like 39, these might be 39% owned. So at this point, I'll rebuild, and I'm going to go ahead and let's just bring in a lower potential salary.
One thing I want to say while you're doing this is that, like, that's the other thing, and I know we didn't get to it fully, and we will, but already, not just the Keegan thing where obviously he's lower owned, he gets put in. That's like in baseball, you see some of the low, the stacks against the chalk pitcher get populated as higher Saber scores or ROIs if you contest Sims ROI if you have the ultimate package, but they were built differently. A lot of those lineups were, did you see the side? It was like 49.5, 49.6. It's like, that's the other thing is when you're playing some of that chalk, if you're leaving $600 on the table, you can obviously get away with a little bit more that way as well. But the big difference was it likes the guys at the top. It obviously moved way off of Davis Thompson, where it's like, that's the guy that's killing your upside. It's keeping you backed into a corner where you need those chalk pieces to hit. You go with the crowd on all of them. And then there's only a small corner of the party to still get to the drink menu and be able to order one because you've got the same as everybody. You didn't really move that far in the lineup when you think you did. So, kind of thinking of it from that perspective is a different analogy, but this is the key to look at here.
So we're going to go back and Davis Thompson it's 100%. A very aggressive number when you look at other people in his area.
Change to 150.
Yeah. 150. So he's,
probably like 80, but if we go to 150 there, let's see.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge number, but I just want to show the difference here in that range. So anything we do with projected score, he's clearly going to be there. He's projected right around 77. No one in his range is close to that. Matt Fitzpatrick up here, 74. Everyone below him is closer to 70. So that's the reason he's going to show up in everything. For the 20 teams, he showed up in every team at. So he's in there 100%. We go to 150. It will, so still 65. Now let's see with Saber Score. Do we start to get a little bit of him when we sort by Saber Score? Because I took that ownership number from basically 40% down to 20. Curious to see if he still shows up.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, so he's still there. So now 28. So like they just didn't love if someone's going to be massively owned in a range, like when you start applying game theory and things like that to the equation, they're just going to disappear. Well, the 20% is still reasonable. He has a big number, so it's getting 28 based on Saber Score. So let's see. Yeah, so kind of the same dynamic up top. Morikawa, Keegan is up higher, obviously, like we just saw. Cantlay at 33, and then Ben Griffin came down a little bit from the projected score number. And really, what you do see when you do this with Saber Score, things tend to get spread out a little bit more. Like our highest owned guy is 33%, opposed to 65%, and you start to see a lot more guys kind of come into the fold here a little bit. Getting 72 golfers essentially at this point. But looking at some of the teams, it still wants at least one of someone up top. Keegan, Ben Griffin, Patrick Cantlay, Ben Griffin.
Yeah, Ben.
Patrick Cantlay, Keegan, Cantlay, and Keegan. This is the first team that doesn't have like Ben Griffin or above. It's a Hideki, Harry Hall team. Back to Cantlay team, Keegan team, Cantlay team. So like, I don't know, I'd say probably 90% of our teams are going to have one of those guys up top. This is a Harry Hall, Max Grazerman, Fitzpatrick team.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the teams, like, again, people are like, I don't know, but that's an example where it's at least going to the next tier of not just Ben Griffin, but it's also skipping the 6s, skipping the 10s, using 1.8K and still projects well. Can you do me a favor? I want to check something for now and for future. You know the full screen button in the top corner by the question mark? Under account. Yeah, see if you click that for a second. I just want to check something. No, it doesn't do it. Like, I don't know why when we're on StreamYard, it kind of cuts off the ownership on the right-hand side because it's interesting just to show people. Yeah. Either way, doesn't matter. Like that first lineup or that you have there, number 13. Yeah, we tried that too. It's weird.
Still doesn't. It's very bizarre.
It is a nice feature they have that even on our site, when you use it, you can make it full screen. But I was just trying to show them, you can clearly see like some of those gaps in ownership on the right. But the 49.4, even on a team, scroll up to the top. You're on team number 13 right now. Go back up to like the popular start of like a Keegan Brad. Okay, Keegan Bradley's not popular, so let's use the Ben Griffin team. The next one. This is an interesting one because even though it's got Ben Griffin, it's got Michael Kim, Jesper Svensson, Max Homa, Hideki, guys that are, names that you can definitely get behind. We've seen at the tops of tournaments throughout this year. $300 on the table, still projects for almost 430 points, has a huge Saber score, and I can't see them hoop, but what is it showing the ownership on lineup 2 for Michael Kim, Jet? Like, what are their ownerships in the right-hand
69%. The first one, 61, 75, 66, 83, 60. So it's kind of like in this 60% total ownership range. And, I'm just curious this week just to see the difference, and I'm going to run contest sims and just see what we get. I have the Lotto contest up, so we'll run it and give us a third look. We got projected score, we have Saber score. I want to run contest sims and kind of see what we get. If it differs quite a bit, do some of these guys come way up, come way down? We'll see. It's usually pretty quick to run, and we'll get a third look at it, because really roster construction this week is everything to me, because anyone can win this event. Like, this isn't an event. Like, sometimes if you go into a major, you go into a signature event, probably a group of guys that have a chance of winning. This week, the potential winners at this event are just so widespread. Like, a winner could come from anywhere, and it's always important. And I think you've done a great job always beating this drum, because people well, if he's 30% owned, I can't play him. Like, it's like that logic to me just kills me, unless you don't like the guy. If you don't like the guy, then yeah, don't play him at 30%. But if you like somebody that is getting ownership, don't fade him. Just play him differently in any sport. Anything
like that. That's the whole point. And that's what I try and explain about SaberSim. People always think it's a sales pitch. It's literally like $25 more than buying SaberSim to get it through SHIPIT Nation, get everything that we offer. But the point is that it's doing that for us. I don't have to be the person it's not who you play, it's how you play. Do this, all these different roster constructions. You can see it. It just showed you when we ran on projected score there before who got to the contest sims, it was showing you the same percentage on Patrick Cantlay, almost identical in both places. But in the first run, the lineups had like 90% total ownership. Just, it doesn't matter about that. I don't go, every slate is different for that. I just explain it quickly this way. It let Davis Thompson get in there. It let all the best projected plays get in there, because that's what it's thinking that you want. But in a high variance sport like PGA DFS, and with a tool like this that's this powerful, you can see that it's saying, look, you can still play you can still play Patrick Cantlay. Just put him in here this way, and look at this. We're still getting you a really high projected lineup, but with much more leverage built in to give you an actual chance to get to the top of the tournament and box others out or chase them down, versus get to the top with everybody the same way, and then you're battling with a 2v2. And I know our chat was talking, in Discord last night about the Fantasy Golf World Championship and that same type of setup where it's like round one, it's like a cash game. Well, if you're playing all the same plays as everybody else, then yeah, you really don't give yourself much of a battle unless the chalk just smashes and you go with them. But having some leverage in there is always a good idea. What do you see here? I know you highlighted Davis Thompson.
Yeah, this shows you the power of SaberSim and the contest sim package. It's like, okay, Davis Thompson, highest projected guy in that range, still the highest owned. We altered it a little bit, still the highest owned, and it's just naturally, because you're going to be playing guys up top. Obviously, if you're playing, Davis Thompson at 8,100, it's not like we're talking about an expensive guy. He's an average price on DraftKings. So it gives you a lot of lineups with the lowest owned guy up top. A lot of lineups with Keegan. Keegan showing up in 17% of teams. You have Siwoo Kim showing up on quite a bit of teams, just giving you different looks. Look at the highest highest contest sim rankings here, ROI rankings. The fifth best team that we have is Davis Thompson with Keegan. Davis Thompson, Keegan. Davis Thompson, Keegan. Davis Thompson. Now you start to get some Ben Griffin, but it also throws in Siwoo Kim.
With like Rosner and Wallace and randoms down low, right? So
yes.
Prime example.
Yeah, I mean, this shows you exactly. You got 45% of our Davis Thompson teams with Keegan, 31% with Siwoo Kim, and it's because of this number over here. They're low owned in their ranges. So it does a lot of the hard work for you on its own. And for someone like me, it's perfect, because I've always struggled with that, building teams that are too chalky or too much ownership. This takes that out of the equation for you. It literally does it for you. I would never get teams like that. It certainly, helped my game for sure. Just, going through this process and seeing how it all works. But yeah, Keegan looks like the, contest sim guy for sure here. On our top team, I eliminated all the other filters. On our top team here, shows up right here on our fifth best team. So he shows up. 6th, 7th best team has Keegan. So it is interesting when you start looking through it all.
One thing I want to do, this is probably a good exercise because we're on it today. I know, again, there's a ton of different things, but for a tournament like this as well, it's kind of fun. If you go to contests for a second at the top left, right click on, find the $100 single entry, and then right click on the left-hand side. So where's the $100 single entry?
Right here. Boom.
Yeah, you've got it turned on. Now go back and run sims again, even on the same build. And even you can leave both, but yeah, if you do this, just rerun the little crystal ball there for a second. Because I think a lot of people do this too. Like, well, I don't need it, I'm only looking at single entry. Even if you don't use this, use the core package and just use Saber Score, apply kind of the same thought process. But I'll just give you a quick rundown because a lot of people ask me about, how do you get to a single entry that you like? You probably, if you're doing single entry, or if that's part of your process, or if you only play one lineup, you kind of got to get a smaller pool in line. If you like 40 golfers this week, it may not be the best week to just jam a single entry lineup and pick one because you got so many golfers you do like. Did you click the crystal ball again, Hoop, at the top?
Yep. So we got it sorted by ROI for the single entry 60K long drive.
Yeah. So now what I look at is something like this. And look, this is a different style Patrick Cantlay lineup. Like it shows you but it's Cantlay Griffin. Okay. Maybe I don't love that combination. What I'll do is let's look at the second one. If it's a Keegan with Grazerman and 4 7Ks, that's definitely different. Still
much lower ownership. I know we can't see, but the first team has 86% ownership. The second one, 57 total.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that, you can see, again, I know with golf projections, it's always tricky. And I agree because it's median scores and you have a miscut, bang, and that's useless anyway. And just this, that, and the other. But I'm just saying what I look for is certain types of builds. And an example might be like the, leave it where it is right now. I'm going to maximize this so I can see that lineup. So number 4 there, if you look, it's got Hideki with 3 8Ks and 2 7s. And even though Noren might get played and Fitzpatrick might get played or whatever these numbers shake out, if you feel like you don't like any of the guys at the top, you were already thinking about Hideki. You're like me. You love Jaeger bombs. You think the 8Ks are going overlooked. Or for a 3-max. I know this is for a single entry tournament, but obviously this lineup would play in 3-max. You saw every other build we looked at. So Todd, that's the point of the dry run, not just to see the exposure percentages, also see the roster constructions. Hoop scanned. Every single build had one of Ben Griffin or above, 80 point or 90% plus had that. It doesn't mean you just jam this build. You can change around a piece or two, but you clearly know that because it starts with Decky with 3 8K guys, you're going to be unique. It still projects for 433.5. It has a good balance of ownership, a good balance of upside, guys that can play, that could come through. Rasmus, Noren, Smalley, Jaeger, Matsuyama, Fitzpatrick, and it leaves $200 on the table. That's what I'm saying. In this one, in the single entry, it's got a 38% ROI. It's, again, these are just numbers. People will say what they want to say about it. The point is not exactly that. It's more of how you can use the tool to your advantage and then find what you're looking for. If you say, well, I like everything, but I don't like that Smalley guy, don't play him. Pick a different guy than Smalley. Maybe you like, maybe you say, I'm different enough already. I could play Davis Thompson in this. I still feel like I'm good with this construction, starting with Decky and using 3 8K guys. It's only $100 single entry. The field is smaller. I've pulled enough levers. I don't care what anyone says. I like Davis Thompson this week. He's too cheap. I'm playing him. Good. Pull Smalley and play him. You can. You're allowed to. It's to get a starting point. And people always think optimizers only for one reason. Kenny, our guy, plays the highest stakes possible and crushes across all sports, says, I don't necessarily use it to build. He mostly plays single entry Thunderdomes and 3Ks and things like that. But he's saying it's another tool to get an idea of what other high stakes players are looking at. Yeah. He's able to check it out and see sort of where somebody is going to land. I know there's a lot of good high stakes chats in the Ship It Nation Discord between Kenny, Shaloub, Ricardo, amongst others, where they're going like, hey, man, I can't tell you much about this, but this guy at high stakes is going to be like 30%. And you're like, okay, that's a good piece to know, because that information is important when you know what your opponents are doing. That's the whole point. Every other show is focusing on a hot take or what they can circle back and be right on. We're focusing on winning DFS tournaments, and everybody's playing in different stakes, different levels, different bankrolls, different contest selection, all these different setups. This is just a quick run on lineup selection for the style of tournament you're in, where clearly that would play well. I don't know, Hoop, if you got other stuff to add, but I think those are key takeaways and learnings more so than just the picks and the plays like we usually talk about.
Certainly. And then one thing, specific to this week, I think a lot of people assume if they don't play guys up top, then they're automatically going to be different when it comes to roster construction. I think that's a mistake, because you can still play the guys up top and avoid the 6K range. A lot of people think, okay, if I don't play Morikawa or Keegan or Cantlay, like I'm good because I'm going to be able to go a little more balanced. Well, you can still play those guys up top and go balanced as well. You're not sacrificing much. So that's where you really got to push it with roster construction this week. Even if I play more, if you put Morikawa in there, you still have 7,800 per spot. You don't have to go into the 6Ks. I can add in Grazerman. So Morikawa and Grazerman at 9,100. I still have $7,500 per spot. So you're just not automatically different. You're not going to be avoiding ranges that other people have to get into if they play Morikawa. You really got to work this week, because the soft pricing, for sure, like just pulling and we have this on contest ends, but like, who's our highest owned guy in this? Are we getting much in the 6K range? Let's see.
Like nobody. That's what I was going to
Nobody. So any sort of build, like these builds are forcing in those guys. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is a perfect example of why you need to take it even a step further this week. We're still getting a lot of guys up top, exposure to those guys up top. Look at the 6K range. When it's gray, that means we have zero. Nothing. We got David Ford showing up on a couple teams. How much do we have? One team. We have one for Phillips, one for Highsmith, one for Norlander.
And we're done.
And that is it. Wow. So really goes to show you how easy it is to build teams this week. And again, by just avoiding the top the 10K guys does not mean that you're different right out of the gate, because no one's going to have to come way down here. And there is a big drop off after some of these names in the 7K range. So just be careful with that this week, thinking that, okay, well, I'm not going to play Morikawa, I'm going to play Hideki, but the rest of your team could still end up looking really, really similar to a lot of those Morikawa teams.
That's the flip side of it too. Again, it goes both ways. What you just talked about is a perfect example, but that's another thing. Like a lot of people will say, again, it's everyone interprets everything differently, and no one knows the answer. We don't have the front of the puzzle of what it's supposed to look like until Monday or Sunday evening, I guess. And then Monday you can dissect it really and go through it, or late Sunday evening. But when you know the results. But this example I was going to give, Ben Griffin, everyone's going to see us go through a day. Man, what a terrible chalk play. 98. Some loser's going to pay $9,800 for Ben Griffin. Maybe that's true. And yes, people are going to pay, whether they're a loser or not. We don't know yet. But I'm just saying, people, when I said it earlier, they'll say, again, this talking on both sides. It's not. It's, just going to Ben Griffin. If you go build the Ben Griffin lineups the same as everybody else, just because you faded the top didn't really put you in a different level. The same thing people are saying about not needing to play the guys up top. This is my point. Nobody's playing anybody in the 6Ks. If you can play one 6K guy or two 6K guys and then not force yourself to buy up from Ben Griffin to Patrick Cantlay or Keegan Bradley or Morikawa, maybe the Ben Griffin lineups that you need, maybe the lineup you need is the Ben Griffin donkey chalk, but it's with two 6K guys and $1,000 left on the table. And it's $1,000. I'm not talking like we're looking for the optimal on Monday that had 45K. I would never tell you to build like that. I'm explaining that these Ben Griffin lineups, there's enough low-owned guys in the sevens that there's going to be high ROI, good Saber Score lineups that don't require a 6K guy at all. But in the end, what is the difference between a David Ford and a Ricky Castillo or something like that in the sevens? It's like that, or Kevin Roy. Everyone has their guys and they'll play them, sure. And you can make a case for one over the other and say, I'm an idiot because you think you know everything. It's golf. Anything can happen any given week. The guys down here, if Toasty or Damon or Adam Hadwin or Carson Young, Adam Svensson, Kanaya, any of those guys, if these guys show up, Danny Walker, we've played in the past who gets hot, any of these guys show up and they're involved, there's going to be people that have them on their build. And so you can get different by doing stuff that others are thinking you don't need or aren't using to their advantage. And that's how you can play. And that's, I use this example in football all the time. Who people love football. Football's coming back. We got big news coming soon before football comes back. But the week when Jamar Chase goes off at 18 or 19% ownership, because you could easily afford him, and he gets 40 fantasy points and DraftKings points, and everyone says, oh, of course, never going to win an NFL DFS if the chalk wide receiver just smashes. And you're like, really? I looked at your portfolio. You had 0 Joe Burrow. If Jamar Chase breaks the slate, Joe Burrow is so likely to be needed that it's not even funny. And he's like 3% owned, and everyone just bitches that the chalk hit. It's like, okay, Ben Griffin chalk hits. People will complain about it. What a donkey chalk $9,800 Ben Griffin, and he got there. Right, but did you play him with 2 8Ks and a 6K guy? Probably not. And leave $500? No. So you're not really talking about the same game that whoever probably had it is. And that's the difference in thinking these things through, and why it's so powerful to look at it from this perspective and using these tools and breaking it down this way versus trying to just say, I know who the exact picks are. If they knew that, pick the lottery tickets, win the Powerball, pick the numbers, like figure it, everything, go do it. Yeah. It's just a food for thought thing, but it's to me, that's why I'm so passionate about this. And I love this side of the game. It's so much more to think about each week, and people would rather make excuses and bitch about it when it's like, there's other ways to look at it and dissect it and break it down.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree. That's why we're here doing what we do. There's so much more to it. And so, I mean, you could talk about this stuff for days, but it's, it's definitely important to really think through it all. And, I think you laid it out perfectly there.
Yeah. What else do you want to go through these tiers real quick? Like, I guess I don't really care about the 10s. We kind of broke that one down already. Is there anybody in the 9s you want to?
Well, just to touch on the 10s real quick. I mean, we've talked about these guys a lot, but I mentioned it with Morikawa, like last week, like you haven't needed him for like 3 months. And I'm not saying I'm fading him this week. I played a little last week. I'll probably be under the field on him this week because there is a path where he finishes 10th and you do need him. Like, and I do think he can finish 10th in this field, but man, like compared to some of the other top golfers, like I think he's slipping a little bit for sure. Keegan, I mean, obvious concerns, big win last week. Like, can he get up for the Rocket Classic this week? Might be tough, and you got to stay on it, man. You got to make a ton of birdies this week. I mean, you got to really dig in and make some putts. Could he do it? Sure. I mean, the argument for him is definitely that ownership number. If he is going to be lower owned than the rest, I prefer Cantlay over Keegan and Morikawa at 10-2, but I'm going to throw Ben Griffin in there, and I prefer him above all 4 of those guys. I don't care what the ownership is. I think he is the best golfer in the field this week. The way he's been playing recently, I think he's taken his game to the next level. In my eyes, I know, some of these other guys are way more accomplished than him. To me, he's number one. People talk, the one thing that everyone talks about, in my model, blah, blah, blah. I modeled this week in my model, like our guy James, notorious for nailing the model guys. Everyone thinks they have a fucking model. Like they just say that shit. No one really has a model. I don't give a fuck. My model says Ben Griffin's 1 and it doesn't apply any stats, nothing. Like to me, in the Hoop model, Ben Griffin's number 1 this week, and that's what I'm rolling with. So the Hoop model has Ben Griffin number 1 and Cantlay 2 in this upperish range. Going down to the rest of these guys in the 9Ks, like feel like Grazerman is a guy that could randomly go off here. I'm going to continue on with Cam Young. I know it wasn't great last week, but man, bomb and gouge. Cam Young, the game's kind of turned a little bit. Like I'm in on Cam Young, going to stay there. Struggle with Hideki, and then maybe I'd probably be fine with Harry Hall. Has he still been playing well?
Harry Hall, yeah, he's great. 9th last week.
Yeah, in on Harry Hall for sure. So what does the Tambo model have for us this week?
I just know that you just reminded me of something that hurts me to my core. Is that Cam Young? Remember he broke his freaking driver here and cost me $200K?
Oh, shit. That's right. Yes.
This was
sweating it out.
I had nothing. Dead as can be in the Golf World Championship on freaking Thursday or Friday. I guess Friday because I guess I had hope on Thursday, but not really. or on Friday after Thursday went bad, but it didn't end up well. But then I had a sweat. I was winning like 200 grand till the end. It just needed him to stay up there with Akshay and those guys. It didn't even matter about that. And then whatever hole it was, I think it was like 13 or 14. We were there with Fantasin, my boy Guillaume, who ended up coming second, and he needed Bhatia. And remember, we were sitting on hole 15, and you could hear hole 18, which was so annoying. And it was like we knew before it happened on the TV.
Yeah.
You heard the crowd be like, oh, and he knew right away it cost him first. And then it was like I was up there for 200K and ended up getting 20K or something instead. So hopefully this year can make up for that and win the 200K. But I think, Decky, Ben Griffin, Hall, I like the top part more than the bottom. And I get the love for like, I may maybe see, I'm not a big Cam Young guy anyway, but Ben Griffin, Decky, Hall. I was going to say, I get the love for the Luke Clanton stuff and obviously how good he is. And they've priced him, what they know about him. But I think there's some guys in the sevens when we get down there that can do similar things that, people might be forgetting about. So I'm going to save that. But who do you like in the 8Ks here? Who are some of the standouts in that range?
Akshay. I mean, I know he hasn't been playing well, but I'm interested in him. Goddard appears to be taking a step in the right direction. But my favorite, I think, let me double check. Let me check my model real quick to see if it agrees with what I'm about to say.
Check your model.
I got to check Hoops model real quick. Matt Fitzpatrick is ranking well in Hoops model this week. So I'm playing well. Kind of been on him recently. I'm going to stick with it. Like, the dude has had a ton of success. Recent results have, not recent. Recently he's been all right, but I guess like the last 6 months have not been great for him. I'm in on Matt Fitzpatrick, probably my favorite here. Maybe a little Wyndham Clark, but the model this week's loving Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, let's see what people say. Scooter.
No, the issue I have with models, everyone pretends like they have their own secret sauce. They all say, "Oh, I got this in my model this week. My model loves so and so based on has nothing." Yeah, it's based off projection, but everyone pretends like they have some secret sauce in their model, and none of them do. Like none of them. So when anyone says, "Oh, my model," like you immediately know they're a fraud at that point.
Immediate frauds. That's it.
Yes,
Call it in,
yes.
man. Get the IRS involved, get everybody. Where does the lawn care fare in your model, Hoop? That's high, number one.
That's important. The lawn care model is very important. Got to have the right calculations in there for sure.
Wyndham's back, Ross. That's the thing, man. Wyndham, big. Everyone says he's back. 17th last week, so he's definitely back. Let me see here. What else? We got kids out here watching. I was reading this one from Scooter. Said, modeling and ownership usually align. Sometimes. I think less people are using models now than before, to be honest. I think it was definitely a bigger thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what you're doing, for sure. But like when you hear all these guys talk, like that have had zero success playing, like PGA DFS talk about their personal model, it's complete dog shit. Because if they had the secret sauce in their model, they'd be winning every week, right? They'd win all these GPP contests every single week. And guess what? It just doesn't happen. So fuck their models.
There's also a lot of these nuances to it. Like you talk about, someone's outside just off the fairway, so it doesn't count as this, or, you look at this bucket because there's going to be X amount of shots. Well, there's X amount of shots from the other bucket too. But then also it's like what was really included versus not, or 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Some of their best shots came from 151, but they ranked horrible on approach this week from 125 to 150. Like too granular. For me, like, again, I used to do this stuff when I feel like I had to. It was like part of, working for a site. And you have to kind of have these spots. I love now that we have SHIPIT Nation where we can just do our own thing, do it our way, say what we want to say, try and help others get better, provide valuable content for an affordable price, and move on. That's really what I appreciate, not having to sign up for the next big thing or go pretend to work for this company or this, that, and the other, and expose these things, and talk about different leagues of golf and all different stuff. I just want to talk about DFS and helping people win money at DFS. That's it. Bhatia for sure that you talked about. We can bring that up. Min Woo was the guy I was going to bring up. He's a guy that I think when you've got Fitz and Hogard and Bhatia and Thompson and those guys right there, I mean, Goddard, they can't all get played. So that's my point. I know Finau WD'd, but if you're like, Min Woo, Rasmus, Fitzpatrick, Goddard, that's 4 guys that are not Bhatia, Thompson, Smalley, that all probably pop a little bit more too. Not saying they're not good, just saying I always talk about this and I look for this as well when I'm sort of building out a pool or looking at my lineups that I'm getting from SaberSim is kind of the setup of who are the guys that people clearly like, but they just can't commit to it, right? They're letting the Davis Thompson show through at 35%. Well, that's giving them 5 to 7% on guys around him. I can play like the contest sim showed 18 to 20% Davis Thompson, and now spread out to more of the guys others can't play that I like in that range. So what one did you have up there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not into the fat chicks, but I mean, the people say they work a little bit harder for things. So I mean, it might pay off if you're into that sort of thing.
The top, yeah, good at the top for sure.
Yeah.
The 7K range. What do we got going on here? I guess first, actually, because I said a couple guys. I just wanted to bring up one thing quick, and I'll let you take it because there's so many guys in here. But I think like another thing Ron Kloss posted about was Thor. I never get this name right. Michael Thor Bjornsson. He's a guy that he said is healthy. I know he WD'd recently, but he was a guy. Nikolai Hogard is another guy here. Kurt Kitty, like some of these guys that others may or may not play because of this range and just not be popular. And then Jake Knapp, don't sleep on him. Shout out to our guy DGen. This was his thing, was play Knapp in fields where there's a bunch of, I mean, not that this is a bad field. We talked about it off the top, but it's definitely not a signature event. So Knapp down at 7,300, I think can help you out as well.
Yeah, Knapp. I mean, the course. If you're looking at a course where you just need to just go out there and absolutely bomb it, and figure out the second shot. I mean, he's perfect. The one thing that definitely know, a lot of teams are going to stop here. Like you can see it, no matter what sort of build we did, they're not getting to the 6K range. So a lot of teams are stopping here. So a lot of guys are going to be in lineups. Like the total ownership in this range is going to be probably pretty large. I mean, you can see it in our exposures. 16%, 28, 20% exposure. A lot of guys right around 10. We got a 14, 13, 12, 10 down here, 16 for Lee Hodges. EVR, where's our boy? There he is. He's right in there. EVR. Yeah, 14%. You're saying we're not playing EVR this week. Man, if you're using Saber's projections and ownership, you are getting some EVR, 14 points, so basically 15%. And I will say I'm playing EVR this week, so I'm Team Rin this week for sure. I'm in on EVR, but you're going to get a lot of guys in this range with some ownership. The ones that kind of stand out to me, good with Gerard. You talked about Olesen. I'm gonna have a lot of these guys. Taylor Moore, I think, is fine. I'll play some Tom Kim, Chris Kirk. I don't know, if this course fits him super well, but I know he's played here a lot. It seems like he's here in
the past, actually. And it's not to say there is going to be some grinders and guys that can find their way through. So he would be one. Yeah.
So I'd definitely be fine with him this week. I know he's played here a lot. 12th at the US Open. Good with him. Jesper Svensson. I know nothing about the dude, but anytime I play him, seems like he does quite well. So I'll play him. Griot, Hoey. Gosh, are we playing Max Homo? I mean, I gotta look. Let me check the model real quick and see if I can play him. Let me check the model. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think I can play Max Homo this week, man. Don't think I can do it. Bridgman, I like. Knapp. Davis Riley. It seems like a spot where Patrick Rogers could do well. Andrew Putnam at 7,100. Been playing well, cheap price tag. I feel like he's played here too in the past. I mean, a lot of cuts in a row. Had a 6 at the Canadian Open. Really like Putnam, EVR. We talked about Gary Woodland. I'm gonna have a lot of these guys. I mean, I do think the one thing that I can say pretty confidently, I think there is a pretty big drop off once you get into that 6K range. There's not many guys down there that I want to play. And the nice thing about a range that we know is going to have a lot of ownership, it's nice when there's a lot of options, and there is a lot of options. So we should see things spread out quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I was saying. Cause I like Jaeger up top, Noren Pop, Stewart-Burn, Olesen, like there's a bunch of guys up top there. This one though, I don't know if I mean, this guy, Tom Kim, best spot. This guy's Circuit City, buddy, bankrupt. This guy's out of business. This is not good for Tom Kim. He's been worse than Morikawa over the last 4 months. And he wants TGL to come back so bad. so he can get for a sim, Tom Sim, like they called him. I mean, this guy is not getting me that excited. If he does well, good for him. There's literally 17 guys around him that I would play, and it beats me. It can't. If it happens, it happens. I don't know what I'll end up getting by the end of the week, but I'm just saying, like, when I'm looking at stuff and going through it, that one is more for content purposes, but that's a tough click. There's so many guys in this range. What do you think people end up doing with Cam Davis? That's my question. So what are we getting for Cam Davis? I know we talked a lot about Davis Thompson, but
zero. We're getting zero.
$7,400. He's just as bad as Tom Kim right now, but at least he's got a couple top 20s mixed in. But he's got a win last year here, a 17th, a 14th, and a win. 2 wins.
Yeah, and based on the projections, I mean, he's projected much, much lower. So I mean, when our initials get plugged in here, maybe it's a little bit different. But whenever someone's this much lower than everyone else in the range, probably not getting much of them. But that's the course history play for sure. If you're a believer of course history, you better get some Cam Davis in there.
And actually, not even better than Homa. Max Homa has a 12th in the same frame that Tom Kim doesn't have better than a 33rd. And Max Homa has 2 miscuts to Tom Kim's 3. So actually, he's worse than Max Homa right now if you're really looking for a quick breakdown. Don't forget, bring this up now as we keep rolling through, but I'm going to give this away. It is a collector's piece now because this is now the Rocket Classic. So this is the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Last year's flag. I'm going to give this away. All you got to do is wait for the show to end, or if you're watching it on replay, you got to leave a comment with the winner and their score in the tournament. 14 under, 18, or whatever you put for it, just put that beside the name. So make sure you have that in there. But yeah, the 7Ks are loaded. That's why you don't need the 6Ks. There's just so many. But the thing is, there's 6K guys that are going to come through that have that upside. I liked earlier, by the way, in your 7K range, that Putnam call is interesting. But going down below, there's got to be guys down here. I know there was a couple. Pot Guider is a guy just bomb it. He's what's his? Oh, he's 7K flat too. Actually,
7K flat.
Yeah, it's a lot of the guys still at the low 7s. Like, it's tough down here. You don't necessarily need it. I know Mayo's going to talk me into Tristan Lawrence tomorrow.
Yeah, it's his boy for sure. He loves that dude.
Yeah,
there's I'd be fine playing like Highsmith. Like I'm definitely good with Highsmith at 68. We got a little bit of Phillips. I wouldn't mind like Higo here. Like I think he could. I don't know if I'm playing these guys. But like I'd be fine going there. You guys know I'd always like Svensson, Carson Young, Shank. Like I would be fine getting a little bit of these guys if I needed to. Like I'm not actively coming down here trying to find guys. God, remember the good old days when we could play Ben Silverman? That was, I think, mine and Kenny. Kenny loves Silverman as well, but that's he's about done for us. There is no.
I love him. He's the guy that he chipped in and got me the 3 seats to the Fantasy Golf World Championship.
3 straight made cuts. Okay, 6,500, 20th at the Myrtle Beach, 70th at the Charles Schwab, and 36th at the Canadian Open.
And 17th here last year, and he's popping on our boy. You can get it for free on the site, but if you go PGA Value Report, Lee Aldrich, he got a little.
He's up there
in there, little teaser for you. Yeah, they're all free. Everyone will see that Value Report for free anyway. But that's a note for sure.
I have to play it. Might have to play some. There's one other name I saw down here. This Noah Goodwin guy at 6,400. Check the model. Where does he rank in my model this week? Playable, 18th at the Canadian Open. So coming off a solid finish. So yeah, I mean, again, not actively trying to play anyone down here, but I'd be open to a few darts for sure.
Oh, drag me into this, he says.
Yeah.
Left him.
Hey, I'm saying at one point we had a common ally.
Toasty and Meisner, you can play. Yeah, there's my boy Mac Meisner, and Noah Goodwin is really polarizing for me, Hoop, because it's tough from a content standpoint. You can't spell Noah Goodwin without win, but you also can't spell Noah Goodwin without no good. So is he, we got to see like which one is it, or which side? Lasasso. Yeah, I know. You know who likes him is Skyhook, who's obviously a good dude and posts the ownership every week, and he won 100K last week. So shout out to my boy Skyler, but he says Lasasso. Yeah,
but is that the good dude that dressed like that on the golf course last week?
Yeah, man, he he can pull it off.
You lose a lot of points when you show up to a golf course dressed like that in my book.
Oh, I'm opposite side. Not even just because I think you got to be a swagger boss, like level 500.
No, hell no, man. You show up with a golf shorts, a golf polo, and a hat, and you march your ass around that course. You can't dress up like that. He's a good dude. Don't get me wrong. I like the guy. He's a good dude, but man, like that's a rough outfit at the course.
I thought it was fire. I think
you're on the opposite side of that.
Big time. I'm opposite. I even like those guys that kickback golf with the golf jerseys. I think it's insane that people go to the course dressed like a golfer. Like, what are you going to rock the shoulder pads and the helmet when you go to a football game? Like, you ain't playing. You ain't playing. You're watching. You're a fan. Get a jersey on. Dress how you want to dress. I think I'm complete opposite on golf course attire. You dress to play. You dress in golf clothes when you're playing golf. When you're watching it, I think it's insane that you can't just be yourself and wear whatever you want to wear. Like, that's the fun in it.
Oh, you can. You definitely can. But, man, like, there's no way I would ever go to a course dressed like that. But good for him, though. And he won 100,000, so it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Well, it's if you can't pull it off. That's I couldn't do it.
I definitely couldn't pull that shit off. There's no way. I'm trying to think in my head how much money someone would have to pay me to dress like that and walk around a golf course. It would be a lot. It would definitely be a lot of money.
G-string to the strip club. Get a G-string and a bra and walk into the strip club. Just dress the same as them. That's what you're there for.
Better than wearing the sweatpants with no undies to the strip club.
This is another good point too. Scooter brings up. I mean, obviously, you got to pick your stands on these spots, but there's only so many of them. But guys like, they'll say, "Oh, it's not enough data in the system yet. We haven't quite figured it out to get enough data on it." And I do. I'm the sample size guy, but it's like if you want to play Luke Clanton, if you want to play Thorpe, if you want to play, a guy like Lasasso, if you want to play those guys, that's the whole point. You can get ahead of it. You can find it and get ahead of it. So. I just think that's another, key point to it there. Just, we're, talking about everything today, but anything else, Hoop, you want to talk about before we get out of here? This was a fun one. I like breaking this stuff down. It is your hometown. Up to you. Anything else you got here? Oh, what else did I see? Oh no, that was, something else. Projection. I was on the Ben Silverman thing, but go ahead. Anything else? Oh, Hoop froze on us. Hoop froze, man. Last call? No, we don't got it. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. If you do want to go check everything out, like I said, just on PGA alone, this code isn't for PGA. It's for all access to the site. So you'll get all the sports we still cover: MLB, MMA, NASCAR, golf. Right now, you get all 4 of those. On the run right now with golf, you've got Rocket, John Deere, Genesis Scottish Open, the Open, and then 3M on top of all these other events. So a lot of big events coming up, a lot of fun. Make sure to leave the comment of your winning golfer and their score to have a chance to win that flag, the Rocket Mortgage Classic flag, not the new Rocket Classic. We'll have to get a new one for this year. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Hoop, who's no longer with us, for the show, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.